since like I don't have class all week. I have literally nothing to do, but there's nothing but time and opportunity right now. I just work out and then I'm at home all day playing Call of Duty or something. So I knocked out all my. I'm supposed to be done next Wednesday, but I knocked out all my work this week already. So I'm done for school.
All right. So Call of Duty, do they have like a ranking? Did you get a 5-star ranking in that too?
Man, if they did rankings, I would have to be a 5-star.
All right.
When you say you're at home, are you at home in which home are you at? Which are you at your apartment or home in Long Beach?
No, I'm at my parents' house right now. Just it's a lot easier for me because I work out in Anaheim every day, or just local areas. All the parks, the parks here are a lot nicer too. So around here,
that's true. I mean, they are. That is a nice. There's a lot of nice stuff around there. Are you working out with Coach Frog and those guys over at Stars, or what's going on?
Yeah, so I've been getting some work in with DJ and some of his receivers that he's been throwing. He trains with Stars, and then actually tomorrow I'm doing one-on-ones with John Ross, Michael Pittman, his younger brother Micah, and then they say T. Higgins might be out there too. So, and that's with they all nice. I guess they're all training with. Do you remember TJ Hushmanzada?
Yeah.
Coaching at Poly. Yeah. So
you guys got good people.
Oh yeah, they all train with him now, and then the guy I trained with, Coach Vic. I guess he called him up and was like, "Let's get some one-on-ones in." So should be some good work.
I love your guy Vic.
Oh yeah, me too. That's my guy.
Dude, that guy, I love him, man.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of we started off this show because we were looking for something to do, and it's just kind of like become this thing where you kind of just have like this conversation about what's going on, and you kind of fill this in a little bit, but it just. Like, do you have a schedule that you keep with USC? And, like, what is it?
I wouldn't say we necessarily have, like, a set – well, as far as meetings and stuff, we did. But since it's finals week and stuff, we don't have any – we're not allowed to meet right now. But we were doing, like, weekly meetings and stuff with, just position groups. And then we would go into special teams and stuff, have meetings. And we would have, like, a team meeting once or twice a week. We still have little team meetings that we're allowed to do, but it's just check-ins really. So, I mean, haven't really got a chance to talk to my coaches too much. I mean, just about football and everything, but we did have a good little routine going. And then just personally, like at home, as far as workouts and stuff, you at Coach Double and the strength staff have done a really good job sending us, some different training things that we could do. So, I mean, I've been on top of that, but they really can't reinforce it right now. So I think a lot of people have kind of been doing their own thing, but I've tried to like stay on track with, at least with the strength training part of it.
Yeah. They're sending you guys food and stuff like that too, like chicken breast and lamb.
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's been pretty good too.
Well, I mean, USC's kind of upped their game a little bit here the last year.
Yeah, right? It's a lot better than Little Galen.
Is it really? Oh no!
I'm not. You want to say that out loud? I'm not the biggest Little Galen fan, so
yeah, you're not the only one. But yeah, whatever, right? You still get grilled steaks and stuff like that whenever you want them, right? For dinners and stuff like that in Galen.
So no, not really. No. So we'll get like the last phase of our strength program. Every Friday we were having steaks. So that was really that was like our thing to look forward to. But other than that, it's like they'll have like a taco night. The tacos are pretty good. I love taco night. And then you can make like your own bowl and stuff to have churros out and everything. That's probably the best night. But other than that, it's usually just like regular like chicken breasts and like broccoli and stuff like that.
Hey, Chris, taco night is on Tuesday, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
Should USC have a Taco Nazo day like every month too?
Yeah, they should. I don't know if they do, but they should.
Actually, Pete Carroll used to actually do that kind of stuff. He used to have like the local people that were like the best at barbecue, and he used to like bring them in and like support the neighborhood.
But I also heard that USC used to do this. Like when I was getting recruited, they kept telling me about this thing that they used to do. It was like I wish my mom was here so I could ask her. I want to say it was every Tuesday or Thursday. They said they had like, it was family night and like all the parents would come to practice. But then after practice, they would have like food trucks and everything out so everybody could hang out.
Yeah.
We haven't done that.
That would be, I mean, that's something everybody would like.
Yeah, that'll be
Maybe we'll
awesome.
put a suggestion box out in front of Mike Bones'
Yes.
office.
Might as well.
I
All
think
right. I'm going to start this. I'm going to start off this part of it. Because there was one thing that stood out to me like a year ago. And that was you were in a big hurry to get to Oregon. And you know, as I learned, I realized that Dante was why you were eager to get to Oregon. And now he's at USC. And, you know, I know what your thoughts are, but what are your words? What you kind of probably knew was happening too before it happened, but just when it did and you knew he was going to be your coach, just like tell us what that felt like in words.
Man, that was like the greatest feeling. That was like, I don't know, it was crazy. Like the best feeling I've had throughout my entire recruiting process was when I committed to USC. That was by far just, you know, the whole experience of it, because I had the whole video made and everything. So just that experience was just awesome. And then, you know, I had a certain feeling when I committed to Florida. I got a similar feeling, but it just wasn't the same thing. But then it's just crazy to me because I never knew how much of an impact one coach could have on me. But I mean, you know, I had a similar coach like that at Bosco with Coach Locke. I mean, Coach Locke, and definitely one of my mentors, has a big impact in my life still. So I mean, Dante are actually cousins. So the way they act just alike. So when I got Dante, I kind of got that feeling that I got when I first committed to SC. Like, I wouldn't even say I was excited, but it was more like I was more excited because I know what's gonna happen. Like, you guys see what's happening now. So like everything that's going on now, this is everything that I was excited about. Unfortunately, I think the recruiting probably would be. It's been going really good, but I think it would be going a lot greater if, you know, spring ball had gone on. But it's
Chris, what is it about Dante that makes him such a good recruiter and makes him be able to connect with incoming guys so much?
I mean, you know, for one, Dante is like, man, how can I explain Dante? Dante is a genius when it comes, like, he's a real DB specialist. He's a genius when it comes to you know, technique and everything. When it comes to, you know, schemes, going up against different matchups, learning your receiver splits. He goes into detail with everything. But then so that's a given. You know, recruits love that, especially me. You know, I value like film and everything, just going into little things. So when I found out that's the type of coach Dante was, I really loved that about him. But then at the same time, Dante was literally the only coach besides Coach Meets and Coach Mora that actually took time to get to know me as a person. Dante took time. You know, it didn't have like our relationship didn't just happen like overnight. You know, like me and Dante, he saw something in me in 8th grade. That's how me and him got so, you know, he saw something in me in 8th grade. I never got the chance to talk to him, so I want to say the end of my freshman year. But in 8th grade, he had actually asked Coach Negro, and my dad was right there too. This when he was at San Jose State. I was working out for Bosco for like, we had a little early edge program. And Dante saw me and he was like, "Who is this kid? Like, he's big, whoop." And then everybody was like, "Yeah, he's gonna be coming here next year." And he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna keep an eye on him." Sure enough, after my freshman year, he offered me at Arizona. And Washington State had offered me, Utah had offered me, and then Dante came in right after. But I mean, you know, ever since from that point on, like from the first time he offered me at Arizona, me and him just built like a great relationship. I mean, he was one of the coaches that I talked to, like on a like very consistently. You know, even when we talked on the phone, it was never. Sometimes it wasn't even about football. He was just a dude that I could really just talk to and get advice from. You know, because he's closer to my age. Not really, but you know, I mean, as a coach,
he's a lot closer in age than I am.
I mean, you know, a lot of the other coaches that recruited me, they were older dudes. Dante's old, don't get me wrong, but if he hears it, he's gonna be mad that I said that. But
Well, I mean, now I'm mad.
Dante's anybody over 30 is old. So.
Dante's getting old in age, but he really understands. He really understands my generation, and like, you know, even the class of like the 2021 kids, 2022 kids that I've talked to, you know, that's one thing that they've always mentioned. Like, you know, Dante, I feel like he really takes the time to get to know me as a player, you know, because he really digs into like the little things because all that stuff matters.
There's no shortcuts for him.
Exactly.
This guy puts in the work.
Oh yeah, no doubt, he definitely does. Yeah. So that's really what stood out to him about me. Just, you know, the fact that he's so smart. You know, he knows the position very well, but then he'll go the extra mile to really get to know his recruits and his players and stuff. So, I mean, like we've had a few meetings where we've just talked about life, like, you know, people about girlfriend issues, just, you know, little stuff that I've never, you know, I've been around a few different coaches now, so he's the first coach that's actually ever took the time out to really, you know, try to develop me as a man and, you know, give me some life lessons. He's really one of the first dudes to do that. So
yeah, you know, you've mentioned some of the things that Dante brings. He's definitely an X's and O coach. You know, he's more than just a recruiter. You've established how he develops relationships. Can you go into his mindset with his attitude that he brings and how it's different maybe? And it's not to say previous coaches at USC were bad. They were just different. But can you talk about the attitude that he brings as well as the new defensive coaching staff and how important that is right now to you?
Oh yeah, I mean, that's another thing that I definitely should have mentioned. I mean, Dante has he always used to tell me, like, during the recruiting process, that I reminded him of himself when he was younger. And I never really understood it till I actually got to be around him a lot more, like when I hit like my junior and senior year, when I really got to spend time around him and really talk to him and stuff. I did start noticing he has the mindset that he's not going to lose in whatever it is. And that's what I love about him. I mean, you know, I'm the exact same way. I don't care who it is in front of me. I want to whip their ass and whatever it is. And Dante, he comes to practice the same day he comes to practice every day with the same mentality. I mean, the dude sent us videos the other day of him doing one-on-ones at Nebraska against Tyjon Lindsey, one of their other starting slots. Like, yeah. How'd
that turn out? Out of curiosity, how do you do?
He won both reps. He won both.
That's instant cred.
He goes the extra mile to not lose. He doesn't want to lose at whatever it is. I mean, me and Dante talk almost all the time about, you know, just different little things. And it's like his biggest thing is even when it comes to recruiting a kid, he'll be like, Chris, I can't lose that kid. Like, if I don't get the top dudes, it makes me look like I'm not a good recruiter. He comes in with that mindset. And I mean, I love it. Then same thing with the rest of the coaching staff. They come in with the mindset that they want to beat everybody and whatever it is too. I mean, Coach Orlando, that's a crazy dude right there. That's a crazy guy.
And we want to know why.
I'm glad he's.
Want to know why he's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, were you shocked a little bit when you went through one of those first winter conditioning, you know, out on Howard Jones Field? You're like, whoa, where did all this stuff come from?
Yeah, so I mean, this was like, especially when I first got to SC, I mentioned this to Uncle Scott a little bit. I was just like, the workout regimen here the workout regimen at Florida was like very extreme. It was really extreme. When I got here, it was still really good, but it was like I just felt like we were missing the energy, you know?
Right.
Then first day Coach Orlando came in. I mean, dude broke us out of our huddle and everything. It was just like, I mean, it was just something I haven't seen before here. So I was really excited about that.
Well, there's a level of intensity and energy that was there was energy present, but it's just been elevated to a level you guys haven't seen before also.
Exactly. And then, you know, that's exactly.
Yeah. Like I said, I've been trying to convey that, you know, I've been following the program for a lot longer than you've been alive. And when I was seeing some of the stuff and I was kind of hinting about it to our subscribers, I was like, they're doing stuff that I've never seen them do before during winter conditioning drills. Like when I saw you guys, you know, hauling these 50-pound chains behind you, I was like, where'd this come from?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's like you said, it's intense out there. So
exactly, yeah. I mean, all the whole new defense coaching staff. I mean, even Coach Helton, you could just tell that he's having like a shift in his mindset. You know, Coach Helton's always been one of my favorite people, just because, you know, he cares about his players. You know, he's real big on getting to know his players as well. It's the reason I came back to SC. But now when you add when I tell you Coach Hudson's one of the smartest when it comes to just breaking down little things. Coach Hudson told me a few things about DB, and I was just like, I don't think Coach Hudson's ever backpedaled a day in his life. How does he know this? He's extremely smart. But now when you add I think the main thing it was, now he has the supporting cast around him. You know, he has people that are bringing the energy every day. So he's out there right with them. I mean, bringing the energy. Yeah, the first day it was different. I saw a completely different. It was like a completely different atmosphere. The energy was way different.
Do you have any? Are you able to figure out what this defense is yet that Orlando is going to be installing at USC?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I love it actually. I mean, the DBs this year are going to be put in position to make a lot of nice plays. So that's something I'm real excited about. I'll be able to read the quarterback a little bit more, really just be able to do my thing. So, I mean, it should be fun.
Chris, how good can USC be this upcoming season?
Realistically speaking, and I'm not just saying this because this is my team, I genuinely feel like we have a chance of winning the national championship this year if everybody works together. I mean, when it comes to talent, I mean, everybody knows it about us. We have arguably the most talent in the country. I mean, you know, just with our receiving core, even our secondary, our D-line, everybody, we're stacked all across the board. So now it's going to come down to us really coming together as a team. I mean, you know, building that chemistry as a team. So that's definitely something that you see with the LSUs, the Alabamas, Clemsons. I mean, you know, you could just tell they all genuinely care about each other. So I feel like we're definitely getting there as a team, and once we're there, I feel like we're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
And then on a personal level, you're a guy that got a ton of reps as a true freshman on defense. How is that going to help you as a sophomore, and what's something that you're really looking forward to sort of show everybody that you've really worked on over the off season?
That's a good question. I mean, to be honest, this whole offseason, I feel like – so when I left Florida last year, I was at home for, what was it, Mom, like 2.5 months. And I did probably not – I can't tell you how many times I ran. I could probably count it on one hand. It was just mentally, it was a lot for me. So I just, you know, I was being lazy. I wasn't really doing what I was supposed to do. But then once I got everything figured out as to where I was going to go and stuff, obviously I snapped back into it. And, you know, I just worked my ass off and, you know, ended up starting after game 3 and, you know, started every game after that. So, I mean, you know, just having the experience, being able to play with guys like Talanoa last year, you know, I know exactly how everybody else in the secondary plays. We all have a really good relationship already. You know, the chemistry is there. At least with me, I have the chemistry with the defense already. So, you know, just playing this year, I have a good feel of the guys around me. I know everybody's going to be in the spot they're supposed to be in, so I'll be able to play a little bit looser. I just feel like last year I was really – I mean, I think it has a lot to do with I didn't really have an off season. I mean, I came in and had to kind of jumped into the fire. So I was battling a hamstring injury and everything too. So that's another reason I didn't really work out. But I mean, this off season it's just been like the complete opposite. I mean, I've been working out every day. I just feel like my old self again. So I mean, I think you're gonna hear my name being called on pick sixes and everything this year. So
you're an enjoy the process guy. You know, if they didn't have football games, you'd still wake up every morning and kind of do what you do to prepare, right?
Exactly.
Get out there. Oh, yeah. But the question I want to ask that I probably would forget if I don't ask it right now is how big of a deal is it to get the guys that USC hired in the video department? You know, for not just for the guys on the team, but is that a big deal to recruits to kind of even know that they got that inside a program?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt, because, I mean, it just shows that I think what a lot of recruits are going to take from that, I mean, it seems like something so little. A lot of people don't really understand it, but in a recruiting game, it does matter because when you see all these different cool videos, when you see different schools doing, like, series and stuff, like little mini episodes and stuff, and we don't have that, it's like kind of puts them at advantage. So, I mean, bringing new people on the staff as far as like the media groups and everything. I think that's going to be really good for us, just because it's going to show that our coaching staff is making an effort to really change things around. And I think we could see, everybody sees that right now, but I think that's just all adding on to it. So,
yeah, no, you're not allowed to mention any names, but when recruiting is going on and the staff comes to you and says, hey, we want you to host this young man who's coming on a visit, can you talk about what that means to you and how important that is?
I mean, so this is something this is just how I've always been. Even when I was in Pop Warner, I always wanted the best guys around me. Even if they, it's really something that my dad kind of put on me, because my 7th grade year, I'll never remember this. I'll never forget this. My 7th grade year of Pop Warner, I was playing, what position was I playing? I was playing running back, and my dad had brought in another running back that was like really good. And I'm not even gonna lie, he straight up beat me out of my spot, and I ended up moving to quarterback. That was the worst year of Pop Warner in my life, and I hated my dad for that. But the next year, I could just tell it made me such a better player, because I never wanted to feel that again. I was like, I never want to have to like go through feeling like somebody outworked me. So right. I feel like I'm getting off the question. What was the question again?
Well, it was, you play, your dad introduced you with playing with great players.
Yeah. Okay.
So the recruiting part.
So when a recruit comes in, you're recruiting another great player. So
exactly.
how important is that to you to be that host and show them what it's all about?
Yeah. So like I was saying, my dad kind of put that on me. So, just having the best dudes around you is going to make you such a better player. So, right. I mean, I've always carried the same mentality with me even when I was at Bosco, trying to get the right guys around me in my secondary. And it's the same thing with recruiting. I mean, when I get the chance to host, a big time recruit, I mean, I'm really competitive too, and whatever it is. So I feel like I'm in competition with whoever if he took 3 visits before me, I feel like I'm in competition with those 3 other guys. And then the last visit that he's going to take, that's just how I am. So, I mean, I really take it really serious, because at the end of the day, I want the best dudes around me. So, I want the best dudes around me. I want to bring in players who are going to be able to contribute in ways that, wherever we need them. So,
I think it's important that you're highlighting that, because, there are some players that, might look at it like, hey, that guy's coming to take my spot. I don't, maybe I'm not going to show him the greatest of time, or I might not tell him exactly what he needs to hear or what he wants to hear.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the worst thing you could do, because if you could play, I know I could play, and I know I'm not going to let anybody outwork me. So I have no problem with anybody. We could take a grad transfer, whoever it is. I'm just not going to let anybody outwork me. So it never really affected me. I feel like, if you really want to be the best, you need the best dudes around you in order to make you better. I mean, that's the only way you're going to grow as a player. If you feel like you get too comfortable at some point, that's when you have the biggest downfall. That's when you have the biggest drop off. So if Dante's constantly bringing in the number 1, number 2, number 3 corner in the country, it's like it keeps me on my toes. Right. And that's another reason I came here too. OG and ITS were both 5 stars out of high school. I knew playing around them. And even when I first got here, Greg was at corner as well. So we had 3 5 stars in the secondary ahead of me. And it was like, either I'm not going to work and it's going to stay like this, or I'm going to work, I'm going to compete and work every day, and I'm going to, get what I want. And I mean, that's just always.
I've got a question about, so USC fired their defensive staff. And the guy they were going to hire was Dave Aranda as their defensive coordinator. So he got the job at Baylor, but it kind of showed, and then they kept Graham Harrell, and then they hired Dante, and then they hired Oregon's graphics guy, and now they've hired LSU's video department, and there's more coming. Are you guys like feeling USC's flex a little bit right now too? You like going, yeah, this is kind of like what USC should be doing?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, I mean, like I said, I'm really big in the recruiting game too. So that's something I let the recruits know too. Like, bro, we're doing stuff that nobody else is doing right now. Like you can tell we're taking advantage of this whole pandemic. Like we're on top of it right now. So, and I think that's the biggest thing, because the biggest thing for me is a lot of recruits don't understand. It sucks, but there's a possibility they might not have a season. And then on top of that, there's a chance that they may not get to take any visits. So you're going to have to make a decision. The 2021 recruits 2022 recruits are going to have to make a decision. But 2021 recruits, they're going to have to make a decision based off of what coaches are doing right now, or what they already know about the school. So, I mean, I feel like us just making all these big moves is kind of, proving the point that even though everything's going on, it hasn't slowed us down not one bit.
Blake.
Chris, so as you just mentioned, some of these high school guys, they might not have a season, but you got guys like Brandon Campbell that are on social media and are just really bringing kind of a different energy than I think a lot of people have seen from recruiting as it relates to USC in the last couple of years. What are your thoughts about what the recruits are doing on social media?
And we'll do this without mentioning recruits' names.
Okay,
we want to avoid that.
I love it just because that's the type of commit I was when I was committed to UCLA, or I was committed to UCLA and USC. So even during my time at Florida, I was early enrollee there. There was a lot of guys that were still taking their visits in my class. So I don't even. My mom keeps distracting me because she's recording, so I keep getting off.
Tell her, say hi from me and all of us.
Is she doing this for your dad's production company?
I don't know what she's doing. She's up
Hey!
here.
Now, you were talking about, always wanting to be around the best players. When you were practicing before things got shut down, you got a bevy of receivers, as Coach Harold would say, there's some dudes in that room. Which dude you just go up against and go, whoa, man, this dude gives me some problems?
Last year was Michael. Going against Michael every day, me and him always did one-on-ones on the same side. And for the most part, it was really only him, Bayless, and it was always him, Bayless, Drake London, and Tyler that I was going against. Those are the four main dudes I went against every single practice. So, just going against them, and Amara as well. So I got a different look. Those are five completely different type of receivers. So, I was guarding Bayless, who was a legit 4.3, might run a 4.2 if he gets invited to combine and stuff. I think he'll run a 4.2 there. So, I was going against him, who's a speedster, going against Amara, who's just technically sound, going against Pitt, who's a big body dude who could kind of do it all. I got a different look at everybody. So, it's kind of hard for me to say, but I guess, I'd go with Pitt. Pitt.
I can say it because watching those one-on-one battles, that was probably the best part of practice, at least for me, because you could see the talking going back and forth between you guys, and there was a lot of camaraderie, but there was a lot of competitiveness going on too. And
especially
some of you guys took to winning a lot better than losing. Let's just put it that way.
Hey, Chris, if you guys play Alabama, and we're going to assume you do, what is it going to be like for you to go up against those guys and play in Jerry's World, Dallas Cowboys Stadium?
That's the opportunity of a lifetime for me. In high school, I was put on a very big stage playing against, the number one schools in the country. I was the number one team, the number one and number two team in the country. Just being able to kind of go back and relive those moments, but on a bigger stage. It's going to be a real blessing. My whole family, if they're allowed to, my whole family's going to be there. So, it's just going to be a game where I'm going to be able to really just let people know that I'm coming to take it all this year. So,
hey, and for all the Bosco people out there, like we've had Coach Degger on, we've had a couple of different players on from Bosco. What can you say about the culture that is there when you were there and that continues to sort of just flourish in the Trinity League?
The competition?
Yeah, just the culture, the competition, all of it.
Oh man, the culture of the Trinity League is different. It's definitely the best high school football in America. I mean, when you get to go up against modern day Saint, like I played against modern day St. Thomas Aquinas, St. John's. I've been across the country playing football in high school. I mean, not everybody could say that. So I mean, I think that kind of shows it in itself. And then just the way, the way we really go out there and play. I mean, it's different. Modern day handles every team that they play from out the state. Same thing with Bosco. So I mean, it kind of shows a lot.
Who has brought out the best in you as a football player from a competitor standpoint? Somebody you play against?
Brew McCoy.
Why?
What
does Brew do?
Is okay. So I'd have to go with it's two of my teammates right now. It's Brew McCoy and Kyle Ford.
Yeah.
In high school, I can't wait till Kyle's back at 100% because I just know what type of player he is. I had to guard the dude for 4 years straight, sometimes 2 times a year. So, I mean, same thing with Brew. They just bring that, like, Kyle brings that. Kyle is the nicest person you will ever meet in your life. But when he steps on the football field, he's like, he turns into a whole different person. It's the same thing with me. Like, me and Kyle go, like, if people saw how me and Kyle, interact with each other at practice just through our aggression and stuff, people would really think we didn't like each other. And same thing with Brew. Brew, I mean, he every time I played against him, even in high school, since my freshman year, he's always been, that's always been like the game that everybody was looking forward to. Me and him. And then, my sophomore year through my senior year, it was always me and Kyle and then me and Brew. Those were like the 2 matchups that everybody was looking forward to. So, yeah.
You guys, but there's an element, nobody likes to lose. But I think the way that I would describe you guys, the 3 that we just mentioned here, is you guys just hate losing. There's like and so that motivates you. And so you have an element of these guys where I believe this is going to present itself, and we're going to start seeing it with the leadership that will form over the next couple of years, and that you guys are going to let everybody else know how much you fucking hate losing, And I think that's a big deal. I really do.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And, that's definitely how we carry it too. I mean, me and Kyle will go out of that practice. He'll give me a rep. I'll get him a few reps, and then we'll go in the locker room and like we'll talk it out and stuff. But it's like in the back of my mind, I know it's in the back of his mind too. It's like, damn, I gotta come out tomorrow and not let Kyle he can't catch any ball because now he's gonna think he's going up on me. And, when you have dudes that come to practice like that every single day with that same mentality, like when I first got here, I'll never forget this. When I first got here, I was talking to Tyler about something, and somebody had asked, they were just egging me on. They asked me if I was going to be able to guard him or something. And, me, I was like, yeah. Tyler was like, bro, I'm be real with you with a straight face. He looked at me dead in my face. He was like, I'm be real with you. You can't guard me. And I was like, what? But, when I went to practice, that first day of practice, it got competitive. And it's like, that's the type of environment that makes that, that's the type of environment that I thrive best in. When I have somebody else, because I know it's all love with all the receivers in the room. I know it's love with all the receivers and DBs in the room, but when we're on the practice field, it's like, we're not showing pity for anyone. So
that's exactly what I was trying to convey. It's you guys are a couple of dogs out there just going at each other. It's hard.
Yeah. What I'm curious from your perspective is we only got to see the one practice, but when you see Kyle lining up in the slot, I'm looking at that going, good luck. I mean, what are the challenges for somebody trying to cover somebody like Kyle in the slot?
I mean, because Kyle, everybody knows how big Kyle is. Kyle is he's built like a tight end almost, but he can move like a receiver, so it's going to make it real dangerous for him in the slot. Same thing with Drake London. I mean, I think they have very different games, but I think they'll both be able to do some of the similar things just because, it's going to create a mixed match. Everybody used to having smaller slots and stuff, so it's going to create a mixed match when you have smaller nickels and stuff that are trying to guard 6'2", 215-pound Kyle Ford or 6'3", however tall Drake London is. It makes it really difficult.
Yeah.
when you have that big of a body coming at you, it's not easy.
Hey, Chris, you just touched on Kyle, and a couple minutes ago you were talking about Brew. And it's crazy to think that those are two guys that we haven't, really seen yet in the slot on the field during the games. What can USC fans expect when those two guys make it to the game field?
Man, I mean, I tell Kyle this probably 2 times a week about how I tell him how excited I am to see him play all the time, man. I mean, I feel like he didn't really get the opportunity to show what he could do last year, and I can't wait for him to go out there and ball this year. I mean, I know he's going to have a really big season, especially because I think this pandemic sucks, but I think for dudes that are in situations like him, I think it's going to help him. It's going to give him time to recover, to really fully recover, so he's going to come back at 100%. He's going to be able to really show people what he could do. And then Brew, I mean, same thing in high school. Brew he's like a man amongst boys, so I can't wait for him to go against, different DBs and really just show that, he still has it. I mean, that's my biggest thing. Brew's one of my best friends, so I take it personal with him and Kyle. Like, I need them to have big years.
After the UCLA game, that week, I started to ask a lot of the guys that were new players and maybe didn't play as much or maybe redshirted, just kind of what the process was for them for the year. And Dorian and Britton Allen were 2 guys I spoke to after the UCLA game. And, it was hard for those guys, to not play as much as they want to. It's hard to come from IMG and then, not start and all that kind of stuff. But what you, and I know you guys are collectively as a group are really, really close. I mean, good Lord, I've seen you guys scootering all over, USC and stuff like that, wherever the heck you were going. But just talk about what this DB group is. It just seems like you guys are really, really close.
I mean, the DB group is a family. It's a real family. Obviously we do have our fallouts every now and then, but we're like real brothers. There's been times where I've gotten into arguments with OG about the dumbest things, and then 2 minutes later, it's like, all right, bro, we got to put that to the side. We got football to play. So it's like, I mean, I feel like when you hang out with the same dudes every single day, I mean, you kind of have no choice but to get close. And I mean, we all have the same mindset when it comes to, just working and stuff. We're all workers. So, I mean, it all helps. I mean, I'd say we're probably the tightest group out of all the position groups. We're probably the tightest group. So there's not a lot of us, we all really care about each other. So.
Have you had any of the, we were on, you mentioned Elijah, and what is the name of Warren's barbecue grillin'?
Sniffing Griffins.
Sniffing Griffin. Thank you. Is
And
that legit? Because I'm just hearing nothing but like high marks on that stuff.
I need some Sniffing Griffins. I haven't had none yet. I think my dad has. I haven't had none yet, so.
Let's try to throw that in there. It's something that I need to try it now. Somebody just was made. I think it might have been Liam Douglas. He made a pork butt with Sniffing Griffin rub.
Okay, yeah. OG, I need to get some from OG, actually. He always has some in his apartment.
Yeah.
I have to get some.
You guys?
I've asked you this before, and I've asked other players this before, and I asked you this question, and you mentioned Dorian, but there are guys on this football team. For me, a guy is Liam Jimmons, but there's a bunch of guys on this football team at USC that are talented, and they haven't had their opportunity yet. Just are there some guys that you could just throw some names out for us on who we might need to watch for?
I mean, I think there's a few dudes. Obviously, I think Kyle definitely falls under that category just because he has a chance to see the field and show what he could do. So I think he's going to have a really big year. I can't wait to see what Follow does. Everybody knows about Daniel and what type of player he used to be. So I'm really excited about him, coming out and really showing people what he can do. I think he's going to be very dangerous. And then,
does Daniel add something, also an element to you guys as a team? Also, he was a leader when he was playing, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Okay, it's been a while since he's played, but it just seems like he brings some element to the team that's going to help you beyond being a football player.
Oh yeah, Daniel's definitely like I think he's the oldest dude in the team now. besides Ben Griffiths, but he's older than everybody.
Well, Ben is my age.
Daniel's one of the older dudes on the team, and like you mentioned, he did used to be a captain and everything, so he has a lot of knowledge. I mean, Daniel, I sit right next to him in the locker room. He's a guy that I talk to, well, I haven't talked to him. I check up on him every now and then since this whole thing's been going on. But while we were in camp and stuff, when we were leading up to spring ball and everything, when I found out he was joining the team again, he was a dude that I kind of reached out to and talked to like as a big brother, because he's been here longer than everybody, so he definitely knows the ropes. He knows what it takes to win some games too. I mean, he played on one of the better USC teams in the past few years, so I mean he definitely knows what it takes. And Daniel's not really the type that's going to tell you too much. He's going to show you. So I mean, that's definitely something that I love about him, and I think that's definitely just what he brings to the table. I mean, he's like you mentioned, he's a leader, and he's real big on like bringing everybody together. I mean, Daniel, he took me a lot of places, like just something that a lot of the older dudes in the past didn't really do. And it's not, I mean, we're all close, but I mean, Daniel just goes the extra mile to really like, he's the first one that's gonna offer you a ride. If you need him, if you need to go anywhere, he's gonna take care of you. Like he's one of those dudes. So he just brings that like, I don't know, he just brings like a good energy to the team.
Chris, I want to ask you a non-football question real quick. When this quarantine is over, what's the first thing you're gonna go do that you can't currently do?
The first thing I'm gonna do that I can't currently do. I mean, to be honest, my life hasn't changed. Besides football, my life hasn't changed at all from quarantine. I do the same thing. I just work out, play the game, and just post up all day. So, I mean, I can't really.
Is there like maybe like a restaurant you're looking forward to going to?
Yeah, I can't wait to go to the mall.
It is going to be a big deal all of a sudden. It never used to be.
Which mall? Just out of curiosity.
Center.
I grew up going to Lakewood Mall and Cerritos Mall as a kid, so that's why I was kind of curious.
Oh yeah, those were the malls I grew up going to too. But I mean, I'm pretty good at saving money, so I like splurging on myself every now and then.
All right.
All right, I got a question for you about this staff, because we don't really know how much to ask about this coaching staff on how they're going to coach, because we haven't had an opportunity to see it. But if this current coaching staff was in place when you were going through the recruiting process, would there have been like zero doubt in your mind about USC?
Yeah, I mean, if to be honest with you, just if Dante was at SC while I was in high school, I would have went to USC 1,000%. I mean, that's just how big of an impact he's had.
Yeah. It seems like, it's kids that are being recruited right now, there's a sense of confidence in the USC coaching staff that, you know me, I talked to all of them. It was just not there. There was not a confidence in the USC coaching staff. Now, when they added Greg Burns, and I think that was a big addition. I think Dante just takes everything to a new level, in that regard. But it just seems like there's a sense of confidence right now. And I'm feeling the sense of confidence from you also as a player.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, I just feel like right now we've been like the players, at least we've been putting the.
I think we lost his volume there. The speaker.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can now.
Yeah, there you go. I don't even know where the speaker's at on my freaking MacBook, but
yeah, well, you found it again.
Well, I mean, we're not going to keep him forever anyway.
No.
But
yeah. So you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah. So what I was saying was, what was the question again? My apologies.
I don't even remember. Must have been a very good one.
You would ask him about not so much the upgrade, but just the difference between.
Oh yeah.
The difference between his position.
The confidence level you have now in the coaching staff. It just seems like it's been elevated.
I feel like just the energy that they bring, they kind of make you think that way. And I mean, when you're training and preparing the way we've been training and preparing, I mean, why not have that confidence I just feel like I have the best DB coach in the country right now, one of the best defensive coordinators in the country, and I'm going to be able to make a lot of plays this year. So, I mean, when I know I'm going to do it, I have no problem talking about it.
Your dad played college ball also, right?
Yes, sir. He played at New Mexico State.
Does he make you watch old films of him playing?
To be honest, no, my dad never really. He was more of like my dad has. I don't know if it's because he doesn't have any film. I think my grandma has it all, but my dad's always been man, let me call one of my old teammates. He always has to have one of his teammates tell him.
Man, that was a good impression right there.
I was just going to say.
That's how my dad is. My dad makes sure he lets me know he was a freak. I mean, everybody said it though. My dad used to be 6'4", 250. He was like, imagine Drake, but like a body like Wale. That was my dad was Wale before Wale.
Yep.
Wow. Your dad's a big dude.
My dad ran like a 4.48 as a DN and everything. So everybody tells me he was a freak. Like jumping. My uncle was telling me my dad used to be able to like jump over trucks and stuff, like crazy stuff. Just stuff a human's not supposed to be able to do.
But we know since mom's in the room, you got all of your athletic ability from her, though, right?
Oh yeah, I got all my athletic ability from my mom now.
There you go.
My dad's athletic, but it really came from my mom.
Hey, Chris, who are some of your favorite guys, DBs, to watch in the NFL?
Richard Sherman. That's it.
Do you sort of, other than the football ability, do you like it? What else do you like about him?
I just like that Richard Sherman's. I mean, obviously he goes out there and performs in the field every time he's out there, but he's really a student of the game, and he's a really good role model. I mean, he's a guy that helps out his community. I mean, I could speak for that personally because when I played in Pop Warner, he came out and spoke to my team before, just gave us some words of encouragement. That's the type of dudes that I like, So, and then, yeah, he's probably I feel like everybody else I'm gonna have to compete with majority of other people. So I can't see myself looking at this now.
You brought up community. Are there any community organizations that you like to get out there and get back to? Yeah, so I mean, I've actually been doing a few things. So there's a program called I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of Brenda Tracy and Set the Expectation. Mm-hmm. It's been in the works for a minute, but this kind of delayed everything. But I'm definitely, just because of what I went through at Florida, I mean, it kind of has a lot to do with sexual assault, and I got to personally see, how being an athlete, could kind of, it changes a lot. So I mean, I don't think it's right at all. So I mean, she's definitely somebody that I've been that I look forward to working to. We haven't really had the chance to do a lot yet, but definitely something that I'm gonna do. And I mean, other than that, just hanging around other little kids that my trainer coaches and stuff, getting to get around those little kids and just put some good advice into their ear, because I think it definitely helps. And then before everything was going on, like I said, this kind of changed everything. But I was helping out with my with Real Speed as well. I trained with them over in Anaheim, and they have a 7-on-7 team and stuff. So just going out there, getting to get around the little kids, everything. That's like the funnest time for me. So. And I want to make sure we were able to highlight that, because when, there's a lot of stigma, a lot of myth out there that these 4 or 5-star elite recruits, they only care about themselves. And that's the farthest thing from the truth. And we want to make sure you guys get the opportunity to let people know that you're more than just a football player, Oh yeah, no doubt. And this is also in the works. Me and Jordan McMillan are actually thinking about starting our own little podcast. And then I'm starting a YouTube channel soon too, just because, with the new rule going on, I want to be able to really maximize everything.
Yes.
And, I mean, I feel like another reason I want to do is just because I don't really want to talk about just football all the time. I want people to really get to dig into my life and see what I am as a person, what I like to do on my off days and stuff. I mean, I'm a regular dude just like everybody else. I just play football. So
Chris,
You like to hang out with rocket scientists. I mean,
oh yeah, that's my guy. I love Jordan McMillan, man.
Chris, how important is what you just talked about? How important is building a brand for you? And is that something that the guys at SC help you guys out with?
I mean, building a brand is huge. I mean, it's definitely something that starts at a young age. I mean, shoot, when you got dudes like Bunchy Young, I don't know who I've never met his dad before, but his dad is a genius. Because I mean, when you could build a reputation for yourself that young, I mean, the younger the better. I mean, it's never too early to start building.
Tiger Woods. I mean, look what his dad had him on late night talk shows when he was like 2 feet tall.
Incredible.
Exactly, and people like that, it kind of goes to show. I mean, just the level of success that they have, because I mean, there's a lot of politics that goes into the game as well. I mean, if you're the same talent as somebody, but they're really promoting themselves, putting out all the right content. I mean, that's why I'm so big on what I post on my social media, just because you're one click away from ruining your brand. You can either take advantage of everything that's going on and really build your brand, and it's going to help you in the future, or you could kind of ruin it right now. So that's why your brand is your reputation. It's you. So
there's something I wanted to bring up, and then this is just from going to St. John Bosco football practices in past years, and Chris was always a guy. And I remember very, very vividly with Chris Hudson. Chris here would just hammer Chris Hudson, and Hudson didn't know what the hell to do. But you were doing that for a reason. And Chris, by the time he left St. John Bosco, he was a baller. He wasn't just this young dude who didn't know what the hell he was doing. Who did that for you? Was there anybody who did that for you?
Yeah, I mean, I had a few dudes, actually. I mean, when I first got moved up to varsity, I was going against Berkeley Holman, Terrell Bynum, who's over at UW now. So it was really those two, but I'd say it was really more Terrell. He was a guy that, I think Terrell was a 4-star out of high school. TD was a 4-star out of high school, transferred back in. Everybody knew how good he was at Servite. And, just going up against him every day in practice, especially like when he got there my sophomore year, I got to go against him and stuff, and it was just like he used to route me up pretty bad, and then it just got to the point to where I was working out every day trying to get better, and it just got to the point to where I slowly saw myself, like it got to the point to where the same slant that I was giving up the first week of practice, 2 weeks in, I was like really patient, and then being able to get hands on him and stuff, and I just noticed that my game got so much better. And, he ended up telling me too, like, yeah, bro, like you look like TB was a dude that he would make me look silly, but right after he'll be like, bro, it's because you shot your hands too early, or you did this. Mm-hmm. And then, so that's kind of how that's been, just being around guys like that. And then I really saw with Wyatt Davis. I mean, Wyatt used to terrorize some of like the dudes in my class, the D linemen. He used to do them so bad. But, just being around guys like that, it kind of made me realize, because like Swabba, for example, Swabba Podi's over at Oregon, Naeem Rodman, who's over at Colorado now. I mean, they ended up being some pretty good dudes at Bosco. And, I really feel like going against Wyatt as a freshman, getting moved up and getting pancaked by the number one offensive lineman in the country. I mean, I feel like it ultimately helped them, especially when same thing with me and Chris Hudson. I was able to go against him, and I mean, obviously it was really rough for him at first, but I knew it was gonna be like that, and I knew that if I took it easy on Chris Hudson, he was never gonna be able to reach his full potential, and that's something.
And I'm serious. Chris was relentless on Chris Hudson. Seriously. I was watching this going, damn.
Yeah, you have to be though, because I mean, I feel like, I mean, even when Trent got to Bosco, Chris's junior year, I mean, when you're going against two dudes who ended up starting the Pac-12, I mean, I'd say it would make the games pretty easy. So, I mean, I would just see it. I'd be in practice, and Chris wouldn't have a very good week against me, but then he'll go in the game and play against somebody else, and it's like, he won't. I was really physical with Chris, and nobody was really able to match my physicality in high school that we played against. So, you know, just going out there kind of made it easy. He was getting all these different free releases and stuff, and it was like I just saw his game elevate so much. And then it got to the point to where me and him were going, you know, tit for tat every one-on-one. You know, he'll get me on the fade, and I'll pick him off on the comeback. Then he'll catch a slant on me. It was just, we were going back and forth at one point, and that's when I knew, like, yeah, he gets it. And then, you know, I heard stories last year about Chris being the same way with some of the younger DBs. You know, he was, you know, Chris likes to talk. He likes to talk just like me.
Yes.
He was letting them hear it, but Chris will make sure he lets you know what you did wrong too. So I'm real.
All right. Well, we've been on for, you know, a little over an hour. Again, we can have you on again too. But I just want to make sure that you guys, Mark and Blake, you know, if you got questions.
No, I'm good with Chris. He's been.
Yeah, hey Chris, thank you so much thank you so much for joining us. You're the first current SC player we've had. So.
Oh, by the way, just to let you know, we'll let everybody know. Friday we're scheduled to have the McLean brothers.
Oh, okay.
So Munir and Abdul Malik. You didn't get a chance to mention Munir.
And we got Dante coming on soon.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think with Malik and Munir, those are going to be really two good dudes to have on, just because Malik and they both have different personalities that I've been around, obviously, you know. So, you know, Munir is the dude that's going to keep his head down and work, and you know, so he brings a different person. I'd be surprised if he talks a lot.
Well, we're gonna ask. We want to talk first. I think our main focus is the community work that they've done.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's what we want to.
Yeah, they're Malik and Munir. Those are two of my guys. I mean, when it comes to stuff like that, even Malik is a baller. I didn't even mention him, but I can't wait for him and E-Dub. I can't wait for them two to get out there.
Right.
It's gonna be crazy.
Like you said, you guys are littered with really, really talented football players across the board. That D line, you mentioned the D line, the USC D line. If there was ever a year for a D line to be ready to just blow up, it's the USC D line.
Oh yeah, no doubt. They'll be really good this year. Yeah. I mean, you guys are gonna see a more versatile Drake Jackson this year too. So I'm excited about being able to see that.
Drake's like he's enjoyed the weight loss, and his dad says he walks by the mirror and he's like enjoying the development going on.
I tell Drake this all the time. Drake has like the mindset of a skill position player. He does. That's definitely Drake. Drake will walk past the mirror like, man, I look. You know, he's definitely been enjoying his weight loss. I'll tell you guys that he definitely.
I guess you answered that question. Who would, in your opinion, who's the biggest joker on the team? If Drake's the biggest poser in front of the mirror, who's the funniest dude on the team?
The funniest dude on the team. Ooh, dang. It used to be Velas, without a doubt. Now I'd have to go with probably my boy Bam. Bam is pretty funny. Bam or no, ITS. ITS is hilarious.
Is he really?
Yeah, ITS is like but he's a different type of funny. Like you have to understand ITS in order to know why certain things are funny. You do.
He's a very wide sense of humor.
He's different.
Isaac's humor comes from, like, you know, the times I've been around where he got me laughing is he will just make an observation and I'm like, yeah, no shit. You know, and I'll be laughing at that kind of stuff.
Exactly. He'll come up with the most random things, and it's like, bro, how did you notice that?
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Isaac is cool.
Awesome.
And he's a baller. Man, that kid's funniest. All right, well, man, thank you for coming on. I appreciate this a lot. You know, this is a big deal for us, and so it's just nice being able to have like a nice conversation. And, you know, somewhere down the road when you guys are practicing, we'll get back to talking to you normally. But again, thank you very, very much.
Oh yeah, no doubt. It was a pleasure. You know, I'm happy to get on with you guys anytime.
Thanks again, Chris.
Right. Yes, sir. You guys have
Thanks, dude. We'll talk to you soon.
Right on.
Bye, man. Yeah, so that was great. I mean, you know, there's a lot to be excited about at USC, and I think we all kind of, you know, we're no different than any of the fans where everybody was watching what was going on at USC and just trying to wonder how it could not be better. You know, it was a 5-8 the year before, 8-5 last year, and it just seemed like, you know, they couldn't win games. They found ways to lose more games than they found to win. And but it was not a horrible football season altogether last year, because I think offensively, you know, they're in great shape, and defensively they have a new scheme, new leadership, and guys with experience. So, you know, you can sense his excitement. You can't fake that.
No, I didn't bring it up with Chris, but last year I asked him a question after a game, and I said, you know, what's lacking on this team? And you saw when Chris knows an answer, it comes to him right away. We were asking him a certain thing. It was the same thing then, and it was for him it was discipline. He needs, especially on defense, he needs somebody who's a crack the whip type of guy. And I think that's what this staff brings. Again, it's not a knock against the previous staff. It's just a different mentality that I think is more closely aligned with Chris's mentality, his attitude, personally. Yeah. So, yeah, and you can kind of sense that you get that from Chris when you hear him talk too. So,
and the thing with Chris too, this year he's now shed the proverbial first skin, you know, that you do, and now he's going to come out and he's going to, you know, he's going to be a different person personality wise on the football and practice field too. And I think that's a big deal, because you just can't have too many guys that have the fire and just hate losing to that level. We talk about that all the time, the ruthless, and I don't know what word works for everybody, but just the guys, it just bothers them. It sticks with them so much that, you know, that loss will motivate instead of, you know, whatever word I'm lacking right now. Anyway.
It's true. Losing is the greatest motivator. It sucks. I can't say it any better than that. I
mean, I used to sit around and like picture myself doing a play or something right to change the outcome. And that's how he is. He's the guy that the game's lost and he will run that game through play by play until he's figured out how it finally went right. You can like trick yourself into like believing that you got. There's the power of visualization is amazing. I'm telling you, and I think that these guys that are really elite dudes have that ability. Tiger Woods, I'm telling you right now, Tiger Woods misses a 3-foot putt to lose the U.S. Open. I guarantee you, the next time you know he's not missing it. You know, there are guys that are just that exceptional with how they are mentally. It's impressive, because I've never had a reason to have to be mentally tough like that. So I appreciate when somebody else has that. Yeah. That's my rant. So, all right, well, we'll call it a night, and we'll do tomorrow at noon. You're going to have to run it, Mark, tomorrow to put it on Facebook. Okay. The 12 o'clock Q&A. You're going to be on there, right? Yes, but you have to do it.